Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
The snow has let up, but what's on the ground has created tricky travel conditions, and they can be treacherous if you're not careful.
We'll give you more specific road conditions shortly, but the areas of significant concern include I-29 between Grand Forks and Fargo, north of Valley City, north of Grand Forks, and around Jamestown. Here in the metro, the big snowflakes we were getting earlier stopped falling about an hour ago and are replaced by foggy conditions. Let's get the very latest on what we can expect tonight and, more importantly, tomorrow morning for your drive to work or school. Hutch?
Well, large wet flakes flew across the valley to the tune of around 2 inches here in the FM area. Some areas getting some sleet and freezing drizzle. Most of this is moving out of eastern North Dakota, pushing into the southern valley and western Minnesota. And indeed, there are difficult travel conditions across the region. And the heavier bands right now, just to the south of the FM area, moving to the southeast. 16 Devil's Lake, but everywhere else in the 20s as we head through the overnight hours. Winter weather advisory is in effect until midnight. I expect most of our snowfall activity to stop by 1 a.m. Another round of snow in the forecast for tomorrow evening. I'll have the latest on that here in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Hutch. And we mentioned the highways earlier and where driving is difficult. Let's check in with Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer for more on that and what it's like here in the FM Metro. Melanie?
Andrea, Mike, if you look around me, the snow is starting to let up a little bit, but it still is coming down. And it's this heavy, wet flakes that is really making for a slippery and tricky commute for a lot of people on the road. We talked with Lee Anderson from Fargo Public Works, who tells us all of his crew members and plows are out on the road right now. And he says it's going to stay that way into tonight and into tomorrow morning. We also asked him what that morning commute is looking like for all of you heading into work. And he said it will most likely be messy. But once again, the plows will be out, making sure that the roads are clear for you to drive on. And we also talked with a trooper from the Minnesota State Patrol. He wants to remind people that in these conditions, you need to slow down and give yourself plenty of time to leave before heading into work in the morning. Now, we've also been watching the traffic right behind us here, just off of University. You can definitely tell that these back streets and side streets are a lot more slippery than the main highway. So once again, a reminder for people heading back out tonight or tomorrow morning when heading into work, drive slow and give yourself plenty of time before heading out the door. Andrea, Mike?
All right, thank you, Melanie.
A former staffer with Fargo Public Schools has been fired after being charged with sharing child pornography online and promoting an obscene sex performance of a minor. 40-year-old Jason Morris was arrested on Friday. He was a positive behavior technician at Ed Clapp Elementary School. A spokesperson with the school district says that Morris has since been fired from the school where he had been working for almost 2 years. We're also told that the charges were not connected to the school or any students.
It's negligent on their part not to take care of this.
A Fargo man says he's fed up with the owners of his apartment building. He says water got into his apartment and he's been living with a mess for the past 2 months.
He called our whistleblower hotline and shared his story with Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer.
I have told them twice, if not 3 times, I need that room done.
Dale Schultz has lived in these apartments for over 2 decades, but now he is tired of waiting.
And that's the 2 sections that they got cut out in there.
That is, waiting for this to get fixed. You see, it all started about 9 weeks ago.
It was the 10th of October. I walked in my office and it was just wet, totally wet.
Water had leaked into his apartment.
And there's another one down there.
So he called the apartment building's management, who came in and cleaned it up. But fast forward a month later, when Dale says he noticed black mold.
And it was pretty bad, and so they cut out the sheetrock to see, if anything was coming from there. And that's where they found the cracks in the foundation.
And since then, nothing. The wall is still missing its sheetrock, the carpet is still ripped up, and all of his furniture from that room has been moved into the living room.
The last time was the 3rd of December. They were in here, and all they did was just look, and leave.
And on top of everything else, the room with the mold is his office.
This file cabinet, too, is completely falling apart.
He has a private accounting business there.
I said, too, you know, you have ruined about $1,400 worth of my file cabinets and a printer for something that's not my fault.
And he tells us he told this
Here was the other one in the closet
to
area.
apartment management multiple times.
Something's got to go, but they just, you know, oops, not me.
But it's still waiting.
It's toxic. Supposed to have a livable
For
environment.
something to be done. In Fargo, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
We did stop by the office for Schultz's apartment. We also reached out to the president of Goldmark. We have yet to hear back.
Authorities in Alexandria have made another arrest in connection with a weekend shooting that left one man injured. Officials say both 29-year-old Zachary Gordon and 25-year-old Jacob McCoy are in custody. Officers responded to a report of a gunshot victim around 9 Saturday night. The victim, identified as Michael Wells, was taken to a hospital with a gunshot wound. He is still being treated for those injuries. The investigation is ongoing.
Police are looking for a man they say was involved in a child neglect case in Trail County. There's a warrant out for Joshua Messer. Now, this woman, 28-year-old Brittany Messer, was arrested in connection with the case. Both are facing a felony child neglect charge. We're expected to learn more tomorrow when Brittany Messer is in court. Stick with Valley News Live for an update.
A West Fargo teacher reached out to our whistleblower hotline after a full-page ad promoting juuling has repeatedly been published in a local newspaper. She says the ads are deceptive, telling readers that juuling is better for you than smoking cigarettes. She says with ads like that, she's worried that juuling, the epidemic, will encourage teenagers in the valley and will only get worse. In Cass County, officials say the number of students vaping has more than doubled since 2017, blaming it on the misconception that the small devices don't cause any harm.
Nicotine changes the way the adolescent brain works, and if you are addicted to nicotine, your brain has changed so much already. You will never be the same person that you were before you started using these products.
Mark Agard tells parents, know what the juuling devices look like so you know when your teenager has one. If you need help uncovering fraud or corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline, 237-6576, and leave your tip. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it.
North Dakota Democrat Senator Heidi Heitkamp bid an emotional farewell to the U.S. Senate today, telling colleagues that gridlock and partisanship does not have to rule the day. Heitkamp lost her seat to U.S. Representative Kevin Cramer in November in a race that helped the GOP expand its control of the Senate. The 63-year-old Heitkamp says she fought every day for rural America and will continue to.
I hope that I can play a role in engaging in a broader dialogue to actually come up with meaningful and effective solutions.
Heitkamp says she doesn't expect to run for office again. She officially makes her Capitol Hill exit the first week in January.
The U.S. Senate today approved a massive farm bill covering everything from food stamps to opioid treatments and offering support to farmers suffering through President Trump's trade war. Senators voted 87-13 on the $867 billion legislation. The bill will fund key farm safety net programs for the next 5 years without making significant changes to the food stamp program.
Build on the existing strengths in the Farm Bill, so it's a good bill for North Dakota farmers and ranchers and for our farmers and ranchers across the country. We'd anticipated it would go to the House first, but we got agreement, which is remarkable.
The bill now heads to the House.